A very hearty welcome to each one of you to today's session of Wisdom Wednesdays. Everything happens with the grace of the Masters. So let us take some time to close your eyes and let our awareness go within, especially to the region of the spiritual heart, which is the center of our being. From this center, become aware of your breath. See how the incoming breath travels through the nostrils, turns around from the top of the nostrils, comes down the throat, moves into this region and dissolves. Also be very watchful how after a minuscule gap, the outgoing breath starts from this very space. It builds momentum all by itself, travels up the throat, turns from the top of the nostrils into the nasal passage, and merges into the air outside. So let this process of breathing in and out happen on its own. Just take your intention out of this process and just be aware of how the breath is moving in and how it is moving out. And when we do this, body intelligence takes over. And we can witness our breath from a totally different point, watching the body breathe in and breathe out. And if we watch, the mind takes a back seat. The number of thoughts arising in the mind start thinning out. It becomes possible to watch the mind. Just become aware how your mind, your spiritual heart, and the breath, which is being guided by the collective intelligence of the body, they are all connected. And if we understand this connection, we can understand grace. Call it by whatever name. The worshipper of Shiva will call it Shiva. The worshipper of Shakti will call it Shakti. The Vedantin will call it Brahma. Followers of Kashmir Shaivism will call it Chitti Shakti. Call it by whatever name. The fact is that it has no name, and it also has all the names. This presence that you feel within yourself is just is. You may think of yourself as man or woman, but this presence is neither man nor woman. You may identify yourself with a region, a belief system, but this presence does not identify with anything. It simply is. People often believe that knowing God is so difficult. But God lives inside us as us. And if we just drop our identification and look within, this presence that each one of us is feeling right now is God. It is not your property or my property. But each one of us is its property. Though it doesn't care because it doesn't identify with anything. It is supremely free. It can become anything. No wonder Kashmir Shaivism recognizes this as Swatantra Shakti. Shiva is known as Swachandanath, he who is supremely free. The one who is capable of becoming anything and anyone, and yet not be identified with anything or anyone. Just be in this state for some time. simultaneously being aware of the spiritual heart where the breath takes rest. The Chidakash where the thoughts arise and subside. And the physical breath which connects this body to this existence of forms and attributes. Now let us travel to more subtle realms from the spiritual heart. Shift your awareness to the movement of breath in the nasal passage. Bring your awareness to the top of the nasal passage. You may feel some sensation happening at the top of the nasal passage. If there is sensation, you are connecting with the prana. So let your awareness be more focused. At the top of the nasal passage, especially the point between the two eyebrows. You may feel a pressure point or a movement of energy. Let this energy move upwards and allow your awareness to go to the top of the head. And from that point, just watch what is happening in your spinal region with each breath. If you are connected with the breath, each time you breathe in, the breath travels to the base of the spine. And when you breathe out, the breath comes up. But if you have transcended the physical aspect of breath and connected to prana, you may feel that each time you breathe in, the prana is moving up from the base of the spine to the top of the head. And as you breathe out, the prana goes down. Whatever is happening and whatever you are noticing, just be with that. Allow the breath to become more and more subtle. It may seem that it is almost stopping. Do not force anything. Let everything be as it is. So if there is an urge to breathe, breathe. And if there is no urge, don't breathe. This is non-doing. You are not doing anything. You are simply participating in what is happening. And this participation is freedom. Freedom from doership. So if the breath becomes still, so wait. If the breath starts moving, so wait. If it becomes faster, so wait. By not exercising control, you are giving freedom to the breath. And you are also giving yourself the freedom to be as you are. With no pretensions, no masks, absolutely naked, absolutely pure like a child. Enjoy the stillness and the bliss that comes with this. Now take a few deep breaths consciously. Start becoming aware of your body. Let the awareness travel to different parts of the body. See how your feet are resting, where your hands are placed, how your shoulders are holding up. Become aware of the sensation on your cheeks, on your forehead. Let your awareness go to your ears. Become aware of the presence of your ears. And when you are ready, very, very gently start opening your eyes. With open eyes, just see how is your inner state. And how do you feel right now? This was not part of my plan. I thought we will do our prayers and then start doing something. But this is what the masters wanted today. So how do you feel right now? Anybody wants to share something? You can unmute yourself.
It feels I am home.
I'm home, yes. When you are into being, you are home. There is somebody living within us as us, for so long. But we really want to know who this person is. So when you get there, even though momentarily, it is the feeling of coming home. Anybody else wants to share anything? Or any question?
May I just both seek clarification and give some the mind and I were very frivolous and not focused. So, but there is, I think, in everyone's heart, like in mine, deep love for God. So, what I started doing is chanting. So, in the chanting stuti of God, what happened is that after a lot of prayers, I mean, you start becoming siddh at it, you start seeing yourself dispassionately, and the mind starts getting rested, and you start getting detached from yourself. So there I just precisely found that it was not I who was the doer, but the grace of God which is guiding me. And slowly, after prayers, I would sleep and I would get full sleep. I would get rested. So I thought my occupation was that through chanting, I was getting the mental rest, and also spontaneously insights and intuitions and perceptions spring up, which keep guiding you and seeing yourself critically. So this has been my experience, and I just thought I'll put it to, because every art and every logic which I tried to still the mind, it would be operational for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, not that is beyond actually range, but this can go on for a longer period. And that's all. That is my experience.
Thank you, Shashi. It's a wonderful thing that you shared. It is like this, that this is the experience of a devotee. So when you start chanting or taking the name of God, first thing is that the name of God is a redeemer. It is a mantra. So mantras are those syllables that can free us, that can protect us from inside, because when we chant, the petals of all the chakras, they start vibrating, and some prana is being generated inside, energy is being built up, and as this energy is being built up within ourselves, then what happens is that we start rising in awareness. So that's the secret of the mantra. Then another thing is that if we keep repeating the same thing over and over again, and there is a history of devotion. So devotion is something which is initially that the bhakta is different and the Lord is different. But as this devotion really builds up, then a sense of oneness begins to come. So the devotee disappears, only the Lord remains. So as the devotee starts disappearing, it is about dissolution of ego. So that personal ego or personal attachment or acknowledgement that I am somebody, I am the one who is doing it, that begins to disappear. And when that doership starts disappearing, that is when God takes over. And when God takes over, then intuitive intelligence is awakened. So there is a lot of guidance that comes from within. And a true bhakta can really accept that guidance. As long as the doership is there, even if guidance comes from within, people will not accept that guidance because their intellectual mind is very active and it will take over. It will not allow them to follow that guidance. But when a person starts listening to that guidance, it is powerful and life changes completely. So wonderful. And everybody has their own way. Somebody may have this path of knowledge. Somebody may have this path of bhakti or devotion. Somebody may have this path of service. And this is how it goes. So whatever path, and there are some people who are very evolved soul, they don't have to do anything. In some moment, the revelation happens and one click and it's over for them. This is what happened to Ramana Maharshi. So every person is unique, every path is different, but one should be aware as to what is happening to him or her and be very watchful. That awareness is a must. And one who keeps watching, then that guidance will come that you do this, this will work for you. Anyone else? Astik has put a message, says, Sir, is it like our no mind state leads to manifestation of our deep thoughts? Yes, Astik, it can manifest. If you are in a state of no mind, and out of that state of no mind, you conjure up something, you bring up a thought strongly, then there will be such a power in that thought that it will manifest. So this is how people read that book called Secret and all those things, and they start trying those manifestation techniques. But rarely any manifestation happens. Simply because those people who are trying these techniques, they are not vibrating high, they are not in that state of no mind, which is a very high state. So when you are in that state and you have a particular thought or you make a wish, that wish will come true. But be very alert as to what wish you make, because often we do not know what is good for us. So that is another challenge. Okay, how do we know what is good for us? Because everything that happens, it's a kind of a mixed bag. It's a package deal. So something good may happen, and yet after some time some other manifestation happens which may not be to our liking. So once we ask for any manifestation, we must be prepared to deal with all the consequences of that manifestation. See, it is like this that I can share something. Somebody had approached me for a consultation. There is some issue with a child. Of course, for a mother, it is very distracting, very depressing. But as far as the depression part is concerned, what I felt was that I saw the horoscope of this lady, and she is having this conjunction of moon with Rahu. So moon is the mind. In Vedic astrology, moon is the mind. And Rahu is the ego. Rahu inflates everything. So what is our ego? When we say this is mine, that is our ego. So when there is a conjunction like this, what happens is it's a kind of a very challenging conjunction, in the sense that Rahu is there, which is always creating emotional instability or challenge. And even a small thing that happens, it is going to blow it up. So a person who is facing this kind of combination, it's very difficult. This combination also makes a person very hardworking. So such persons can become CEOs in a multinational company. They will themselves work for 18 hours a day, and they will make everybody, those thousands of employees who are working under them, everybody work for 18 hours a day. But in life, you may do anything. The simple benchmark is, are you happy? Are you at peace or at rest? Not. So if that is not, then one needs to do something about it. So what can a person like this do? I gave the example of a child who is restless. So what we do, we ask that person to channelize. But a grown-up person who is not a child, somebody who is above 40, does that person? So the thing is like this, that I just, it comes up, what are you good at? What did you do? Can you channelize your energy? Can you go out for a walk? If you don't jog, at least go out and walk. Do a nice workout. Sweat. So that by doing this, what we become? We become completely in the body. So when we are in the body, the mind loses its grip over us. The way we are living our lives, we are doing everything so that we are in the mind, not in the body. And that is the major cause of all the mental problems that people are having. So if people can learn to do some exercise, be with the body, they can learn to go out in the nature, walk into the nature, they can learn to do something, at least walk barefoot on the grass. Grounding will happen. So many of these troubles will go away. But people are not prepared to do all these things. And sometimes they are not told that this is possible, this can help you. So this is where that smartness comes. Are we being smart? Can we really learn what is necessary for us and do it? We are surrounded by Rahu. Rahu is all the electronic gadgets. So we are surrounded by Rahu, and Rahu is ego. So look at what is happening to people who are always on the social media. So they must learn to do something to channelize their energies. So each one of us has to look into our own lives and see what is it that we can tweak and do that. That's it. So thank you everyone, and just take this practice home. When you feel that you want to meditate, don't give it the name of meditation, because that will be an invitation to doing something. Just sit quietly and be yourself. This will be your pathway to enlightenment. So thank you everyone, and good night.